Well, hi, BookTube. Bill Ruttenberg here at the Ruttenberg Library. Wanted to come to you today with a pile of possibilities for the 80th anniversary of D-Day. Now, last June 6th, so we're talking almost a month ago, we were celebrating the 80th anniversary of the invasion of Normandy. Peg over at the History Shelf had contacted me a few weeks before and said, hey, let's do a buddy read on D-Day and let's do kind of a celebration to show the importance of the event, how proud we are of our soldiers. And I said, sure, I'm all game. And so what we did was we decided on, we came to an agreement to read Stephen Ambrose's D-Day. June 6, 1944, the climatic battle of World War II. And this is an awesome read. We've been going through that. I just reached the halfway point in the text. It doesn't look like halfway, but I am halfway because a lot of that is notes and stuff in the back. But anyway, I just reached the halfway point in the book this morning, and I've got at least 5 more chapters I got to read tomorrow and Saturday to get caught up to everybody on our buddy read. So me and Peg and then my good friend Brian, we've been buddy reading this and leaving some comments on Voxer, and we are just thoroughly enjoying and appreciating these soldiers from the United States, from Great Britain, from Canada, and there were several other countries involved in the invasion of Normandy on the beaches of Normandy, that June 6, 1944, that invasion that we saw. And we just wanted to show our appreciation for that. And so we've been buddy reading this. Excellent book, highly recommended if you haven't read it. I was just telling him this morning that you're reading about the invasion forces coming in, and you feel like with Ambrose's writing, you feel like you're right there with the soldiers going onto the beaches, or right there with the paratroopers as they're falling, or right there with the fighter pilots as they're coming through and facing all of the German artillery being shot at them. But anyway, it's just a really good book and a really good read. And then I've got 2 really good reading partners in Peg and Brian. It's been absolutely wonderful to sit down and do this, and I appreciate them leaving their comments, and thank you, you two. But anyway, the subject of this video is going to be some other books that you could read if you were celebrating the D-Day invasion. Now, again, this video is a little bit late. I should have done this in reality probably 3 weeks ago. But better late than never, right? Because I know there's still some people who are still wanting to read up on it. So here are a few books. I picked 5 of them off my shelf to show you, in addition to this D-Day, Stephen Ambrose D-Day book. I picked 5 more that I had on my shelves handy to tell you about. I have read 3 of the 5, and so 2 of them I have not. And this one is one of them I have not read. This is D-Day with the Screaming Eagles. For the men of the 101st Airborne, June 6, 1944 was a baptism by fire. And this is by George E. Koskamaki. Hopefully I pronounced that right, or I'm at least close. But this was a just a little paperback. Let me read the back of it to you. It says, in the pre-dawn darkness of D-Day, an elite fighting force struck the first blows against Hitler's fortress Europe. Braving a hail of enemy gunfire and mortars, bold invaders from the sky descended into the hedgerow country and swarmed the meadows of Normandy. Some would live, some would die, but all would fight with guts and determination that made them the most famous U.S. Army division in World War II, the 101st Airborne Screaming Eagles. George was part of the 101st Airborne's daring parachute landing into occupied France that day. Now, drawing on more than 500 first-hand accounts, including the never-before-published experiences of the trailblazing Pathfinders and glidermen, Kazamaki recreates those critical hours in all their ferocity and terror, told by those who ultimately prevailed ordinary Americans who faced an extraordinary challenge. D-Day with the Screaming Eagles is the real history of that climatic struggle between the beachhead, or excuse me, beyond the beachhead. And so, yeah, that's going to be a good one. You're dropping in with the with the people right into the front lines and getting right into the fighting. And so I'm looking forward to digging into that one of these days. That's one. Here's another one. This one I have read. Pegasus Bridge, June 6, 1944. D-Day, Before Dawn, Minute by Minute, Hour by Hour, The Danger Grows. And this is another Stephen Ambrose book. Excellent book. It's all about the soldiers who went to take Pegasus Bridge. Now, this one's not very, very long. So, and, it's got nice pictures in the middle to go with it. And it's got... some maps and stuff to kind of guide you along the way. Really, really good account of the morning of June 6th. So it was in the early morning hours of June 6, 1944, a small detachment of British airborne troops stormed the German defense forces and paved the way for the Allied invasion of Europe. Pegasus Bridge was the first engagement of D-Day, the turning point in World War II. This gripping account of it by acclaimed author Stephen Ambrose brings to life a daring mission so crucial that, had it been unsuccessful, the entire Normandy invasion might have failed. Ambrose traces each step of the preparations over many months to the minute-by-minute excitement of the hand-to-hand confrontations out on the bridge. This is a story of heroism and cowardice, kindness and brutality, the stuff of all great adventures. Yeah, and so I remember this being it's been a while since I read it, but it was a really, really good book, and I highly recommend it to anybody wanting to read about those early morning attacks on June 6, 1944. Now, this one is more of a recent. It's been a couple years since I read it, but it's not 10 years. So this one was D-Day, Minute by Minute by Jonathan Mayo. One historic day, hundreds of unforgettable stories. This one, I believe, was one of them sent to me by Todd at Todd's Bursting Bookshelf. Or bookshelf. I can't remember what the title of his channel is, but he sent me a ton of World War II stuff, and just history books in general, but a lot of World War II stuff. And I think this one was in the box. Don't quote me, that might not be right. But anyway, this was a really good book, I thought. Pretty simple for a simple mind like mine. Easy to understand. Font is not too challenging, and it's got some pictures that go with it, some pretty iconic pictures. That one's pretty iconic, but it's a minute by minute account of the taking of Normandy. It says this is the story of the D-Day landings as seen through the eyes of the people who found themselves placed in often extraordinary situations on that historic day in June 1944. From military generals to the French villagers. Take Lieutenant Norman Poole, jumping from a bomber surrounded by 200 decoy dummy parachutists. French baker Pierre Cardin, leading British paratroopers to his local church where he knows 2 German soldiers are hiding in the confessional. Southampton telegram boy Tom Height, delivering his first death message by midday. Or Colonel Kortenhaus of the 21st Panzer Division, running at the sound of Allied aircraft to collect his still damp washing from the French woman who's been doing his laundry. D-Day, Minute by Minute, is a fast-paced chronological narrative giving a blow-by-blow account of the momentous events as they unfolded. And I liked this because, you get your general military histories of things, but this gives you not just what's going on militarily, but it's also got, some of the everyday people that were living in France at that time, and what they were doing and how that played a role in not just the battle, but just everyday lives of people. I liked it. I thought it was good. The next one that I would definitely recommend to you all is by Alex Kershaw, and this is The First Wave, the D-Day warriors who led the way to victory in World War II. And it's got a really awesome cover. I love that cover. It's really awesome. And here's Alex Kershaw for you. And this is, you know, basically the first wave of guys who went in. It's got good, the font on it is good. It's got, let's see, some pictures in here. You know, the black and white photos in the middle to help carry the story along. And I love this because I refer back to this when I teach my kids in class. I refer back to stuff I learned in this book. So your front flap says, beginning in the pre-dawn darkness of June 6, 1944, the first wave follows the remarkable men who carried out D-Day's most perilous missions. The charismatic, unforgettable cast includes the first American paratrooper to touch down on Normandy soil, the British glider pilot who braved anti-aircraft fire to crash land mere yards from the vital Pegasus Bridge, the Canadian brothers who led their troops onto Juno Beach under withering fire, as well as a French commando returning to his native land who fought to destroy German strongholds on the Sword Beach and beyond. Readers will experience the sheer grit of the Rangers who scaled Pointe du Hoc and the astonishing courage of the British airborne soldiers who captured the Merville gun battery in the face of devastating enemy counterattacks. The first to fight when the stakes were highest and the odds longest, these men would determine the fate of the invasion of Hitler's fortress Europe and the very history of the 20th century. The result is an epic of close combat and extraordinary heroism. It is the capstone of Alex Kershaw's remarkable career, built on his close friendships with the D-Day survivors and the intimate understanding of the Normandy battlefield. For the 75th anniversary, here is a fresh take on World War II's longest day. So yeah, this was just, I thought, a phenomenal book. I thought it was really good, and it's really going well with, as I'm reading Ambrose's D-Day book with this buddy read. You know, a lot of this stuff, it's talking about the same stuff. And so what I really like about all these books is they're all dovetailing together on their stories, and it's giving different perspectives and, you know, just giving you more of a well-rounded look on things. Now, this one, I have this last one in the stack. I have not read. I just got it. It's a pretty short book, but it's by Douglas Brinkley, and it's The Boys of Pointe du Hoc, Ronald Reagan, D-Day, and the U.S. Army 2nd Ranger Battalion. And yeah, it had some, I saw this, and of course we were doing the buddy read, so I had to pick it up. This was in one of my book hauls, but I was looking at the back, and it has praise from Chris Matthews, Doris Kearns Goodwin, Walter Isaacson, John Meacham, Richard Norton Smith. I mean, just some big name people that I've read before that I would trust those historians. And so I went ahead and picked this up. If you're not familiar with Douglas Brinkley, there he is. And he's he's written several books. And let me read the flap to you here. And this will be, like I said, the last one in the stack in this recommendations videos, pile of possibilities of stuff you could read. So, acclaimed historian and author of the New York Times best-selling Tour of Duty, Douglas Brinkley tells the riveting account of the brave U.S. Army Rangers who stormed the coast of Normandy on D-Day, and the president, 40 years later, who paid them homage. The importance of Pointe du Hoc to Allied planners like General Dwight Eisenhower cannot be overstated. The heavy U.S. and British warships poised in the English Channel had 18 targets on their bombardment list for D-Day morning. The 100-foot promontory known as Pointe du Hoc, where 6 big German guns were ensconced, was number one. General Omar Bradley, in fact, called knocking out the Nazi defense at the point the toughest of any task assigned on June 6, 1944. Under the bulldogish command of Colonel James E. Rutter of Texas, who is profiled here, these elite forces, Rutter's Rangers, took control of the fortified cliff. The liberation of Europe was underway. Based upon recently released documents from the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library, the Eisenhower Center, the Texas A&M University, and the U.S. Army Military History Institute, the Boys of Pointe du Hoc is the first in-depth anecdotal remembrance of these fearless Army Rangers. With brilliant deftness, Brinkley moves between two events, 4 decades apart, to tell the dual story of the making of Reagan's two uplifting 1984 speeches, considered by many to be among the best orations the great communicator ever gave, and the actual heroic event, which was indelibly captured as well in the opening scenes of Steven Spielberg's Saving Private Ryan. Just as compellingly, Brinkley tells the story of how Lisa Zanata Hen, the daughter of the D-Day veteran, forged a special friendship with President Reagan that changed public perceptions of World War II veterans forever. Two White House speechwriters, Peggy Noonan and Tony Dolan, emerge in the narrative as the master scribes whose ethereal prose helped Reagan become the spokesperson for the entire World War II generation. And so anyway, that's one. Again, I have not read this one, but it sounded interesting. And so it's one I hope I can get to sometime before the year's out anyway. But anyway, BookTube, I hope this helps you with maybe some ideas of stuff that you could read in celebration of the 80th anniversary of D-Day, June 6, 1944, the Allied invasion of the Norman beaches. So there you are. There you have it. There is a pile of possibilities for anybody wanting to look into the D-Day celebrations, the 80th anniversary. Again, sorry for the delay on this video, but better late than never, right? Thank you for watching. I hope everyone remembers and honors our veterans and tells them thank you when you get a chance. So until next time, BookTube, happy reading.